We're back. Big week, Colorado week. You know, my views are going stupid right now. If you go and look at the numbers on my normal videos for a normal game week, I get 20,000, 15, whatever it is. But then I react to a Colorado game, 40K. I put up the game preview with Dion's name in it. We're already up to 20K, and it's been like 12 hours. Okay, I am capitalizing on the hype. I am pumped as you can imagine. And then the other day, someone says, hey, Chancellor Brewington's got a new channel. And you got to check it out because he's reacting to Nebraska games and giving his take. I thought, okay, I'll watch it. Obviously, I didn't have time because this has been a huge week making content for you guys. But I said, Chancellor, you want to come on the channel? Give us your thoughts on what's going on this week. What happened in the Minnesota game? And just do an interview. He obviously agreed. He's here. And now I've got a bunch of you who are going to ask him questions. I've got the questions. And I'm just pumped out of my mind that we've got another game 3 days from now. You guys know I'll be there. I think Chancellor will be there, and I'm going to introduce him to you guys now. His first time making his appearance on Corn Craze. What's up, brother?
I appreciate you having on, man. I'm Chancellor Brewington. Played at Nebraska 2 years, but I'm just thankful to be on here, and you've been doing numbers, man. I've been seeing you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, we got a lot of questions for you because this last week has been a little bit stressful. You know, people were excited about the Matt Rhule era kicking off, and I think the expectations were tempered. People thought, 6 wins is fair, especially after everything we've gone through these last few seasons. But then the way they lost was way too familiar, and I think the right word is frustrating. I'm sure you felt that way a little bit too watching it on TV. But when you made your reaction to the Minnesota game, I didn't get a chance to check it out. What was your initial takeaway? Were you optimistic by the outcome, or were you a little disheartened?
Um, I think there was a lot of takeaways. First, I think the defense played great. I think the defense played great. I think 3 points at halftime to any Big Ten team, no matter who they are, is impressive. Stopping Minnesota from running the ball, turning it into a pass game, and I thought our pass defense held up. Losing our premier pass rusher and Ty, and still being able to put some type of pressure on the quarterback in the second half of the game, loved it. Um, as the offense goes, obviously we know, Jeff struggled a little bit, but I like to see I like the way he bounced back from those 2 picks in the first half to afterwards. You just saw a surge of confidence. Usually, a lot of quarterbacks lose their confidence after something like that. But obviously, I would like to see them get him going a little bit. I know we'll get into this a little bit more, but I would just like to see them get Jeff going a little bit earlier.
I think after you get that first game out of the way and you start to have film to look at, they're going to be able to figure out his strengths, figure out how to help him with his weaknesses. And I got a lot of hope that they're going to be a lot better, at least this season, if not this week. But I don't want to get too deep into the Minnesota game yet because I got a lot of questions about your time as a player. You know, you just got done. You were at Nebraska these last 2 years. You transferred in 2021. What options did you have other than going to Nebraska, and why did you pick it?
Yeah, so going in, so that was right after COVID. So the timeline was I had just graduated from Northern Arizona. And I got hurt and didn't end up playing in their quote unquote COVID season. And my uncle Toby Wright, Nebraska legend, he played there from I think 92 to 94 or 92 and 93. But he was an alumni, and I've always heard about Nebraska, and he kind of proposed the question like, "Hey, do you want to make this happen? Like, do you want to come to Nebraska?" And I had no idea where Nebraska was. I didn't know what a black shirt was. I didn't know anything about Memorial, anything about the 90,000. I didn't know nothing, but um, I'm glad I made that transition.
So when you first got there, what was the best part of being in Lincoln? Like I'm assuming you took a bigger step because you're going from FCS now to Big Ten school. I'm guessing people knew who you were when you first got there.
Yeah, it was my first experience of like kind of getting to know the Nebraska fans. Me and actually my cousin Javen Wright, he's number 33 for Nebraska. Shout out him. But so we went to Chick-fil-A one day, like probably like a 3 days or
Wait,
4 days of
pause,
me actually being
pause
there.
really quick.
Huh,
Bro, I'm about to finish this
but
story for you because you know what's funny? My
huh,
cousin is the dude you're about to talk about.
there's no way.
Dead ass. He's working in the Chick fil A drive through. You drive up and he says your name. Am I wrong?
Literally. No,
Bro, how funny is that?
no.
How funny is that? So
That's crazy.
he literally, when it happened, he
That is
called me
crazy.
because he was a student back then. He called me. He's like, dude, I was in the drive through and I saw Chancellor Brewington. I was like, yeah. He's like, he was surprised that I recognized him. I was like, he was surprised. This is back, 2 years ago. And I was like, why was he surprised? Like, well, I guess he
Yeah.
came from a small school and didn't know that we were all going to know who he was.
No, that was crazy because I hadn't posted anything. I don't think I wasn't even on Instagram. I didn't even have an Instagram or like a Twitter or nothing. And then all of a sudden my mom had sent me a tweet, and it was like, people was looking you up, like this and this. And they was talking about my name, like being Chancellor and how it was a little different. But we pull up to the drive through and I'm with my cousin and his sister's in the car, and I just order a number one with a shake or something. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're Chancellor Brewington." I'm like, "What? Like how you know who I am?" But yeah, that
Bro,
was a crazy story, man. That was like my first like real experience of like how engaged the fans are in Nebraska.
yeah. So when you got there, you're part of a 2021 team, right? And they had some star players on there. There was a lot of optimism. And they lost damn near every game, or you lost damn near every game by one score, right? Was the
Hmm.
energy in those games, and I'm asking you because I want to know the energy now when you watch at home versus back then. Was the energy back then a little bit stressful, feeling like, damn, it's so close and I don't know what's going to happen? Or is it more like that as the viewer at home? Do you see it from a different perspective?
Like when we're playing,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say, um, shoot, we can take any game from that 39 season. Let's go Michigan State. You know what I'm saying? Where we score late in the game, Adrian does that little sideline run, gets in, and then we punt the ball the wrong way. Right before that, we're thinking we have the game sealed. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking we're winning this game. And I feel like every single game that even when it got close, me personally, I felt like we was gonna win every game. And even going into each game, no matter what happened the week before, I really believe we was gonna win. So it was interesting to like see the comments and see certain things because I truly believe that we was gonna win every game in the game and even going into the game for preparation.
Was it just you who believed it, or you think the whole team and all the coaches believed it?
I think that's where it gets a little sticky, man. I'm be completely honest. I think and this is something Coach Frost harped on a lot when just private meetings and stuff like that, that there was like this hint of doubt that we were gonna let the game slip away. And he was in the whole off season going into 2022 season was all about killing that doubt and gaining confidence and doing little things to get to know each other a little bit more for when those tough times happen. We can just look to the left and right and count on each other. And obviously, um, that following season we had a rocky start, and had some adversity, but I think the lessons that we learned during those times are still valuable.
For sure. Well, you mentioned Frost. There were some players you'd see they'd go on Twitter after they left Nebraska and they'd make comments kind of complaining about him, and there were all the rumors and everything. But your experience having him as a coach, things didn't go your way, but would you call that a good coaching experience? Kind of neutral? Who was your best coach when you were there?
Oh, Coach Beckham for sure. That's not even close. I would really put him up against any position coach in the nation. I think Coach Becton is probably the most detailed coach. That's why when people are wondering why I know so much about football and stuff like that, I knew a lot going into Nebraska, but he put me to a new level. And I would say my Frost experience, I really appreciated him because he taught me a lot personally, and he trusted me uh, with with uh, with just being a new guy, putting me in a new position, and putting me in a new role, a unique role that nobody really does. And um, you know, I appreciate Frost, and I can understand where people come from. I see both sides of it. I'm kind of neutral on that, but from my personal experience, I appreciate the football mind he has. He's definitely a football genius. I feel like he didn't get to display it sometimes, but even just the stuff he did at Oregon is legendary.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's funny you mentioned Becton because there's so many Nebraska fans who wanted him back under Rule, and obviously we didn't get him. But if there was ever a coach who could come back from the Frost era, I think it'd be him and Bill Bush, who people would be the most excited to have. So
Yeah, 100%.
last year started off in Ireland. Going into the year, we were all rooting for the team, obviously. We are rooting for Scott Frost to get it done. Like, nobody wanted him to get fired. They wanted him to figure it out. And then that Northwestern
Yeah.
game happens. So you're on the plane, you're going home. What's your outlook on the season after that? Does it feel like 2021 all over again? What was in your mind going on?
What was it? Following Northwestern, we had North Dakota, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yep. So right after that, I remember going home and I was like, look, like we got a quick turnaround. Like, because a lot of people didn't realize that it was a 13-hour flight or something. I
Yeah.
think it was a 13-hour flight. And so we didn't really get to rest going into it because we got in like basically Monday. So we had no sleep and we had to practice the next day. So um it was really like there was no time to dwell on anything. And it was really just on to the next week. And I honestly felt like going into North Dakota week, we were kind of sluggish. We were kind of not I wouldn't say not ready to play, but I just feel like our legs weren't underneath us. I feel like there were just uh a lot of jet lag. I've never been on a plane for that long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I just felt like the morale from that group was probably the most uh, genuine guys I've ever been around. They were always rooting for the guy to the left, the guy to the right, and it was really a special group, to be honest.
So it didn't feel like the season was over in that moment.
Oh no, the only time where it was kind of like what the hell was the Georgia Southern loss.
That was my next question because we all, like, as
Yep.
fans, I got on here and made a video where I ranted and I said, well, this is like officially it. The Frost era is over. And the next day it happened. And then Mickey comes in. The vibe changed to fans, at least. How did it change in the locker room when he came in? Like, it felt like there was more confidence.
Man, that was I don't think anyone's really got to talk about this for real. How the transition was, but uh it was interesting, man. It was That was the last time I ever seen Frost was that morning, Sunday morning. That's the last time I ever seen him. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
obviously, he left his number on the board for us to reach out to him, and he gave his speech and he left, and then Mickey literally came in right after him, and he gave a speech and said, "We got lift, and we got our little rehab stuff to get to. So go get your shoes on, go get your shorts on, and go lift." And we're just like what?
It was cold hearted.
And
Like we
like
just moved on quick.
yeah, yeah, and it was awesome. I think the changing moment that 'cause that season could have went a lot worse. I don't think a lot of people realize how much we had to rally mentally just to, we didn't just lose Coach Frost, but later that day we lost the defense coordinator. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
there was a lot of changes that happened right away. But one thing that really changed was Coach Duval, our strength coach, brought us in, and he just explained to us. This was the analogy he gave. He said, when you're on the battlefield, and bullets are flying, and all of a sudden your captain or your lieutenant gets shot, um, you just stop. There's still bullets flying. You're still in a war. You still got to keep going. And he was like, the next guy's in command. He was like, no matter how you felt about the old lieutenant, this next guy is going to lead us. And he was like, it doesn't matter how I feel, how any other coach feel. He says bullets are still flying. And that was like a saying like we always said like bullets are still flying. Like we still at war right now.
Yeah.
Like we still got to keep going.
You're in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
So I know Frost had that conversation with you guys. Was his message just to make the best out of the situation, even though it was a worst case scenario, like keep fighting on?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was tough, man. Like it was a super emotional message. He was basically just saying he wanted to get it done for us, and he wanted to get it done for the state. He wanted to get it done for the fans, and but it just didn't go the way he wanted it to. And he just wished us the best of luck, and that he will be continuing to watch us and rooting for us. And if we ever need anything, just reach out to him.
Yeah, which is like the best way he could depart as a coach, I think. So, all right,
Yeah.
this is my last question about your past as a player before we get into what's actually going on right now. You played with a lot of really good players. You got Adrian Martinez, Trey Palmer, Nelson, Newsome. I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? When you think back to practice and games, who do you look back at and say, man, like that dude was special?
Oh man, I can name a few of them. I mean, how smooth Samari was, um, how much of a freak Cam was. Um, shoot.
You play with a lot of NFL players.
Uh, yeah, obviously you got Ben Stilley. That's my brother-in-law, by the way.
Wow.
Uh, you got you got Snacks. You got Damian Daniels. I thought he was a if he would have came back the next year, that would have been something scary. Obviously you got Ochan, but you got Trey, you got and I feel like a lot of people didn't get to see how good Casey was. Omar Manning was a was one of the most rawest guys I've ever seen. He
Dude.
he literally was DK Metcalf in the flesh. I was like, oh, this dude's he a D end or something. And he's like, no, like he's in the receiver room. I'm like, what? But yeah, there's tons of guys, man.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. People ask why Nebraska fans get so pissed off and why they're so frustrated. It's because there are these freakish athletes all over the field, and there have been for so long. All these dudes make it in the NFL or at least get a chance, and it doesn't feel like they're rewarded with the right amount of wins, I guess we can say, right? You mentioned Casey. So there were a ton of questions after the Minnesota game this last week about Jeff Sims. Keep in mind, I totally understand the questions. I understand getting frustrated about the turnovers, but everyone said Casey should have been the starting quarterback. I was hesitant to say that I agree with that. And the main thing is, if the offensive line can't protect Casey, I don't think he has the same ability to move around. Although he is mobile, I don't think he has the same ability to move around and make plays that Jeff Sims does, right? He doesn't give you the same look as Jeff Sims, but I know he's not going to make the same crucial turnovers, okay? When you were watching Minnesota, were you thinking in your head, I wish Casey was out there?
I'll say, let's say Jeff. I haven't figured out Jeff's skill set as a passer yet. I'm not saying he's not a good passer because I've seen him throw some good balls. But I just personally haven't seen um his full skill set, and I don't blame that so much on Jeff. Me personally, I think they should have incorporated a lot of simpler concepts to get him going. The quarterback position is all about rhythm. If it's on first down, you're running the ball. Second down, you're running the ball. Now it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 12, and now we have to take a shot. Well, Jeff hasn't thrown the ball in 5 snaps, so the rhythm hasn't been established. We saw what Minnesota did. Minnesota's run game, okay, it wasn't as great as the pass, right? But let's dink and dunk on first down. Let's see what our guy gets. Let's dink and dunk on second down. Okay, we're on schedule for a third down, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. All right, let's run inside zone. Let's run split zone. Let's run our gap scheme. So um, it's just an interesting play call. I haven't really figured out what they're trying to do. I get the 19 runs with Jeff. I know he can run. We get that, right? But I was I just don't think that's sustainable for a whole season, in my personal opinion, and I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, we saw it with Adrian, right? He ran the entire season and he got banged up. It happened every year Adrian was here, actually. And then Casey, same thing. He got banged up, so makes it tough. There was another part of the game that was painful. Anthony Grant comes in, and I'm sure you heard it. We all heard it. There was rumblings that Anthony Grant was turnover prone, and then in the presser, Matt Rhule said that it was holding him back from being listed in the top two. And then we get to the fourth quarter, and he's the guy with the ball in his hands. Were you surprised that Gabe Ervin didn't get in there more after he broke off the 27-yard run?
Um, no, not at all. Actually, I mean, we gotta still look at things the way it should be looked at. I mean, AG ran for 950 yards or almost 1,000 yards last year. That just doesn't happen by accident. In a Big Ten on a Big Ten football team in the Power Five level, even if you was playing at uh, the high school down the street, if someone ran for 900 yards, they are some type of they're good. They're a good football player, and AG is a great football player. It's the difference of a fumble is having it right here and having it right here. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about from right here to right here. We're not talking about him being slow. We're not talking about him not being elusive. We're not talking about his vision. We're talking about from right here to right here.
Yep.
Because if you look at that run, what was that? I was about an 8 yard run. We're on schedule. If he goes down and the ball's right here, now we're clapping AG. We're saying this. Now, what does AG have to do? Just be more detailed during practice. That
Yep.
that starts in practice. When we're doing ball securities early in practice, what we gotta do? Just be a little bit more intentional and things of that nature.
I think that's it. It's pay attention to the minor details because it is such a minor detail. And the dude is extremely talented. There's no denying it. Like you said, all those yards, he's already proven it. Here's a question about a position you played. So Harburg comes in, what felt like out of nowhere, and you played with Harburg for what? Was it 1 year or 2 years?
2 years.
So you got to see his athletic ability, I'm sure. He comes in at tight end, and he was, I think he had one catch, and then Borkacher might have had one catch. Fedoni had none. You also got to play with Fedoni. He wasn't on the field all the time because he was rehabbing from injury. But were you surprised that Harburg got a catch before Fedoni did? Or did you think, Harburg's a special talent too and he's got to get on the field?
I think that goes back to my last statement of you have to simplify the pass game uh, to make things easier for Jeff. And when you simplify the pass games, it's quicker and easier throws. Where are the easier throws? To the tight end and to Billy Kemp that had no catches. You know what I'm saying? So we you have to really be mindful of where our passing attacks were. Everything was outside. Alex Bullock was getting a lot of targets, and Marcus Washington was. Nothing was inside, and inside reads makes things a lot easier for the quarterback and makes it harder on the defense. Once you start dinking and dunk inside, it opened up thing on the outside. So that's why Nate didn't get a Nate got that one-handed catch in the low red, and that's why Thomas didn't get no catches. And that's why you saw Heinrich get that catch. But I liked what they're doing with Heinrich, giving getting him involved and switching things up because that makes it a personnel and a matchup uh, nightmare. If you really have a few packages with Heinrich in the game, I think that just gets the offense going. It gets the team morale going. And it's something. It's a curveball to throw at the other team.
It makes the defense think twice. I think that's the important part because when they go and study film, they're like, who the hell is number 10? I haven't even seen him out here. And then, like you said,
Yeah.
you got to throw balls on the inside, make easier reads. When you throw outside, more risk for interception. It's a harder throw to make, harder decisions. So I like that idea, and I think that's going to be a big part of this week. Run the ball and throw it short. Make the passing game more simple. So, did you ever meet Matt Rhule, or you were gone before he got there?
No, I didn't meet him.
What's your first take on the play calling and the overall coaching style now that you've seen him play?
Um, I would go to war for him. I'll tell you that. Based on what I've seen, and I've been watching the YouTube videos and things like that. I would just say he's obviously a very run heavy team. That's who he is. I think that will get things done in the Big Ten with a good defense. I really believe that. But you got to identify some type of passing game, whether that is a very vanilla passing concept that we're just going to have a zone read on this side or a man read on this side, make things easy for the quarterback. But as far as coaching staff, I think they went through a valuable game early. Going to losing a one score game by a field goal. First game, there was a substitution error late in the game that they had to call a timeout because of. I think those games are more valuable than beating Northern Illinois first game by 75 or beating Arkansas State like Oklahoma did by 70. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? That the close 3 point loss is a little bit more valuable for a team aspect. It sharpens things up. Okay, to get ready for the Big Ten, we got to fix this, and this.
Yeah, I think it's way better that they got this out of the way because they got to learn a lot more and it makes them more battle tested. It builds up your confidence. And there's a lot you can learn when you make mistakes. I think that's kind of the issue, right? People think, well, I don't want to fail. Yeah, but failure is good for you. Failure is what you grow from. So, yeah, I'm excited for this week because of what they've already gone through. So, moving on to Colorado, which is this week. You told me you're going to the game. Why did you pick this one? Or what happened to make you go to this one?
Well, I'm currently training in Colorado right now, so I'm like, I have to make it. Like I have to, bro. So, uh, I'm gonna be at one of the tailgates. I don't know which one. Someone invited me to some former player tailgate. So it'll be fun like to interact with the fans as a former player and get the fans perspective on what a game is like. I've never really gone to a big college football game before and not played in it.
So this gonna be your first time going to a big college football game as a fan?
Yeah, I haven't even been to yeah, I haven't been to any type of college football game.
Dude, this is the right one to go to. This environment's gonna be insane. So you're gonna vlog it, or what are you gonna
No,
do?
it's
You got to make content.
No, so what I'm thinking is I'm definitely gonna vlog it, but the style I'm gonna do it in is I'm gonna be just interviewing a lot of Colorado fans and seeing, you know, how they feel about the game and talking to the Nebraska fans and no, it's gonna be funny, man. It's gonna be a good time.
I like it. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna talk to Colorado fans. I might have to go and test to see which ones are real fans because I know most of them are just Dion fans. So I'm gonna take a $50
Ooh,
gift card out there. And I'm gonna be like, all right, answer 3 Colorado questions for me. And I know all of them aren't gonna know the answers. And then I'll finally give it to
right.
somebody who does. But come on. It's not like Nebraska where they know everything about their team. It's a new fan
I
base.
know it.
All right, I got a
Hmm.
question here from Caleb. Caleb, thank you for the 20. I appreciate you and the support. He says he's watched Colorado and TCU 3 times now. The weaknesses he's noticed are that they're terrible at pursuing and bad at open field tackling. He wants to know if you think more fullback formations are a must to open up the air attack and play action.
No, I do not think more fullback formations are a must. I think something as simple as a 2-by-2 set and running inside zone will work on them. I think they're not very sound defensively. I think they're light up front. I think they are their backers don't flow well with any type of outside zone or inside zone. They just don't move well in my opinion, and I don't think their safeties are good tacklers. So um, I this is a take I had earlier. I would really like to see when we're into the boundary, since college hashes are so far apart. I would really like to see us run at Travis Hunter, make him tackle. If he's going to be playing 100 and X amount of games, I mean X amount of snaps,
Yep.
I would really like them to make him tackle. And what I mean by that is if we're running an outside zone to the boundary to number 12 side, I would like that receiver out there to push crack that safety and let Travis Hunter tackle.
Yeah.
Let him be a football player.
Test him because he wasn't tested last week. He didn't have to go after one-on-one tackles. They're just in diving after the ball mode. So that was the next question I got for you. Shador and Travis, I mean, it's hard to argue that they're not the two best players on the field. So do you think Nebraska can slow them down on defense?
Well, my personal opinion, I think Jimmy Horn is probably their best offensive player.
You think he's better than Shador?
That's okay. I mean,
Best receiver.
weapon that best weapon that Shador has. Let me put it that way.
Fair.
I think obviously Shador is the best player on the team, because the quarterback position is uh, the most important position on the football field, no matter what level. Um, Obviously, if quarterback doesn't execute at 90% rate on a big time playing field, then they're not going to win the game. So that being said, I think Travis Hunter is a good athlete. I really do. I just question sometimes. Um, the role that he's playing right now, if he can sustain it. Just because me personally, I haven't seen that before. 140 snaps, that's 3 football games for some people.
It's a lot.
And it's tough. It's his first. This will be a second Power Five game. And that being said, I saw a few MAs. I saw some missed assignments when he went to defense. I saw some half-ass routes. I saw some loads. So he let up a touchdown in man to man that he didn't even try to track down his guy. So there was a lot of things that we see the media push. Okay, Travis Hunter did this, but when you break down the film, you're kind of like, oh, there's some question marks. There definitely is.
Makes sense. So you got to attack him and exploit him, is what you're saying.
E- Exactly.
Test that dude. I think if you got Nebraska, who, in my opinion, simple question: who was more physical on defense, TCU or Nebraska? Just from last week.
Oh yeah. And yeah, let's talk about this, man, because I was fired up, man, when I seen Richard Sherman saying on ESPN that Colorado just beat the the
17th
runner ups last year.
runner
Yeah,
up, 17th best team in the country.
yeah. Okay, well, 17 of the 22 guys ain't there no more. So
Facts.
so is that the same team? No.
Not quite.
So I would say Nebraska's defense looked 1000% better. And they looked very sound, not only from a physical standpoint, but looked like they were lining up fast and they were where they needed to be. And that's one thing we need to do this week is get lined up. Colorado is going to tempo us. They're going to tempo us. They're going to tempo us. They're playing at altitude. They're going to use that to their advantage. They're going to get in their little stack look. They're going to get 2-by-2 and try to run that inside zone when they got numbers. So we got to get lined up. Get lined up. That's. I know. I don't even have to be in the defensive means to know. That's what they are saying. Get lined
Yep.
up.
I like that. Okay, wait. Quick questions to super chat. CTB, thank you for the $2. chat. He says thoughts on Phelan Sanford.
That's how I'm Phelan. It's my dog, Phelan. My boy is probably one of the fastest dudes I've been around. Like literally perfect form fast. Like he could drop a 4.3 when he runs on his pro day or combine or if he decides to do that.
Oh, he's
But
got freak speed.
he's no like he's very very fast and he's really the leader on special teams. And that's he a great player, man.
All right, let's go back and talk about altitude. So you're training in Colorado right now, yeah?
Yeah.
So I went to Colorado like 4 months ago and I did a little hike, nothing crazy. And I work out 5 days a week. I'm in shape. But I'll tell you, my lungs, after like 5, 10 minutes, really felt compressed. What do you think's going to happen with Nebraska this week? Are they training in a different way? Are they just hydrating? How do they prepare for this altitude?
Um, I know I know what is usually standard for teams that come and play at altitude. There's going to be oxygen tanks on the sideline. That's usually how it goes. Um, I don't. I would if they utilize them, if that makes them play better, I would like to see that. But uh, you're gonna feel it. There's no if ands buts about it. We saw the Denver Nuggets play, right? We saw the finals series. We saw how tired the other team got when they went and played them at home games. So we understand what altitude can do. We already seen it, and especially in a football setting where you got about 5 pounds of weight on you added with the pads and stuff like that. So you definitely are going to feel it. That's why I say they're going to try to tempo us. They're going to try to get us to catch us out of whack. They might do an unbalanced formation and catch us our corner on the left side, and there's no receiver over there. They're going to try and do that.
Yep.
But we just got to stay poised, and that's where the offseason training comes in. And I know Coach Campbell has got them boys right, and they're going to be fine. I already know it.
They already looked good when they were playing against Minnesota. It looked like they were going the distance and Minnesota was getting worn down. So I do have a lot of confidence. Husker Nation, thank you for the $15 super chat. He said Rhule delivered what he has been saying all along. Own the trenches and being physical. Facts. Defense and special teams were good for game one. Let's just keep the minimums to mistakes to a minimum. Yeah, I can't agree more. Thank you for the super chat. And I got one more. Caleb wants to know, and thank you for the 10, Caleb. Thank you for being a member. He wants to know what kind of defense packages you see from Nebraska. More of a zone or a man to man? And do you see a few corner blitzes to put the heat on Sanders? Okay, so I talked about in my game preview video that Colorado ran a bunch of mesh plays against TCU last week, and it really caught them out of position. The Colorado receivers would go across the field, and then the TCU defender would get hung up on the other receiver and the safety or whoever else is out there in the field with them. I said one solution to mesh routes is playing more zone. So Nebraska did play zone and they played man against Minnesota last week. But what do you think they're going to run in Colorado this week?
I think Nebraska is their defense from a film perspective is put in a great position right now because you look back at the Colorado TCU game. What does TCU run? They run a 3-3-5. So we can see what worked and what didn't work. We can see how Shador attacked him, how Shador was checking a lot of stuff to the back. It seemed like uh, they would they would fake snap and then they would check to the sideline or they would check and see, okay, I like this matchup with our back. So I think shutting down the running back in the passing game will be a big key. And how do we do that? Be disciplined with our zone drops. Be disciplined if we're in the flat. Be disciplined there. And when we have the back end man, make sure we get to him. I do think I would expect a few packages in. I would expect there to be some variety of looks that they give a heavy pass team. I would like to see I would like to see a little bit more zone, but I would like to see them get home when they send three or four when they pressure the quarterback. I think are we're kind of figuring out that jack position, that kind of outside linebacker. And I would they're blitzing them A gap, they're sending them off the edge. I would like to see that guy get home, and I'm encouraged what I saw by the young freshmen, Cam And what's the other dude's name? Uh,
The freshman on
Prince.
defensive line, Prince Will.
Yep. Prince. I'm encouraged by what I saw by them. I really like the way Blaze was playing, but the way when we play zone and we got a dynamic receiver in 5, we got dynamic receiver in 10, we got dynamic receiver in 12, and a dynamic running back. When we play zone, what we gotta do? We gotta tackle. We gotta make sure we get him to the ground and we gotta swarm to the ball.
And I feel pretty good about their tackling as of now.
Yeah.
I got a question here from Osawa for you. He says, Chancellor, by the way, it's impressive that you understand the defense so well and you played offense in college. So I think, I don't know if you see all these chats I'm pulling up. There's a bunch more that you're not seeing, but people are really impressed by your football knowledge. Osawar says, Chancellor, what are your thoughts of the wide receiver room? Do you think we have to turn to freshmen like Malachi Coleman? You know, IGC went down with the ACL last week, is looking thin. Do you think Malachi comes in this week?
Yeah. Yeah. First off, prayers to IGC. I reached out to him. That's a tough break. Going into your last year, and obviously he'll be back. Redshirt and stuff like that. But that's always a tough break. But to answer that question, do you think we would have to turn to Malachi Coleman and thoughts on receiver room? First of all, putting too much on a freshman early is rough. You got to understand this. A lot of freshmen, or every freshman, were just in high school, and their playbook was about this big. When you get to college, it's about this big, and you got to know hot routes. You got to know route adjustments. You got to know the whole 9 yards. And they have to trust you enough um, to not mess up Jeff's reads because we know okay Jeff kind of struggled a little bit. I know he's going to bounce back, but the fact is he struggled last week, right? So you can't make a bad situation worse and putting a bunch of new guys in there that kind of are maybe 80% good with the playbook or 70% good with the playbook. You want guys that Jeff trusts and can say, hey, I like this one-on-one matchup with him and Travis Hunter over there. I gotta throw this hitch. That's my read. I gotta throw this 9 yard stop. Like the right side is dead. I have to throw this 12 yard stop.
Yep.
I have to trust my guy. Um, and I think that's the type of confidence Jeff is going to gain in the receivers. No matters who is in there, I know they're going to get them right. But I wouldn't put too much on freshmen. I would just like to see them just next man up. Whoever the next man up is, they just got to produce this week.
Know your role. It's funny. I don't know if you're talking to the same people I'm talking to, but that sounds like the exact response I got when I asked about Malachi. So it's pretty good analysis. Cole's got a question. Thank you for the $2, Cole. He said, what was the name of your famous lead block play?
Oh, you want to know the name of it? It was so the package was called Hippo Brew. So Hippo, in the football, like is a 12 personnel. So it's one running back, two tight ends, right?
Yep.
So Hippo Brew means I would be the third tight end, but I would go to the Z receiver. So I would technically be a receiver on there. And what it would be, so the play would go like it would go it would be cloth, it would be Z cross, claw follow, and then it would be claw follow right or left. So basically, it's really just a big split zone with a lead block by the running back, and I'm cleaning up whoever's on the edge.
And was that like one of your favorite plays you've ever made in college?
Um, yeah, I mean, I like my receiver days a little bit more, but the feeling of the feeling of going into a game and even like in warm-ups everyone's like, hey, that's A2, the one who be doing that, and I'm like, and like that feeling was great, just being kind of feared on the football field and then carrying that into my last year, like being able to do it at the tight end position, at the fullback position, and doing it in game, like those experiences I really enjoyed.
It's funny you say that. In high school, I played both ways. I played offense and defense, and my role at receiver was just a crack block. But I was laying dudes out the same way you were, right? And so it wasn't as fun for me because I liked my role on defense. I like making bigger plays, but that role is so important, and you really established that at Nebraska. Everyone knew you as a big time blocker at tight end, and you weren't even that big of a guy. It wasn't like you were a traditional NFL size built tight end. You were built more like a receiver, but you were just putting it down.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a lot stronger than I look.
No, you packed a punch. So this week, I mean, you're on TikTok, Instagram, all that. You've seen Colorado shit everywhere. All the talk about how good Colorado is and how they're going to win this game and all of it. So you think that Nebraska is going to take that to heart and feel extra motivated this week? Or is it not a big deal? You think that they
Uh,
don't even care?
I would say the message in the building should be, and I know it is. This is pretty standard across the football world. Is uh, we just worry about who's in the building. Whoever's in the building, that's who we're worried about. Anything outside the building, we don't care about. So I'm sure there, I would definitely, if I was a coach, I would definitely throw a little, I might throw a little like, hey, look, like they don't think much of us, they don't think we're going to be physical, they don't think we're going to, put a little spark in there. But um I know the defense, and I know the leaders on that team. uh they're not looking at social media and getting an extra edge. If you're not, as a competitor, if you're not ready to play this game, if you're not if you don't need a energy drink, you don't need to take anything before the game, you don't even need an ibuprofen, because your adrenaline should be pumping through your veins for 4 quarters. And if it's not, you should take your pads and helmet off and just go home.
For sure. Because at this point, this is what we live for. I mean, if you're a football player, this is the perfect situation. So Denon has a follow up here. Denon, thank you for the 20. And Denon is he's we'll call him a producer of this show. He's helped me get everything set up for everybody in the chat who doesn't know. But anyway, Denon wants to know if or what your thoughts were on Keyshawn Johnson calling Nebraska sorry and saying Colorado speed is like Ohio State when going against Nebraska. First off, let me tell you, I laughed at that shit. I didn't even acknowledge it. I think that was such a joke. Keyshawn sent his son to Nebraska a few years ago, and he didn't last at Nebraska. So Keyshawn making any negative comments about Nebraska is silly to me. What are your thoughts? Ohio State compared to Nebraska speed is what he's saying Colorado is.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the craziest takes I've ever heard. And I'm not saying, I know Jimmy Horn, like he gonna be a NFL receiver one day. I know that. Like I think number 10 a good receiver. I think 12 is a good receiver. I think Shador is a great player. I think Dylan Edwards is a good back. He's only played one game. You understand what I'm saying? Like he's played one
Yeah,
game. We talking about Ohio State that had uh Olave, Jackson Nibgo, and Marvin Harrison Jr. at one time. So that Ohio, we not, they're not on that level yet. You know
it's
what I'm saying?
totally
Like
different.
like that's, you can't say Ohio State offense. I'm not sure how they are this year, but to say like an Ohio State offense in general is implying that you have 2 to 3 legitimate like superstars on your team,
Potential first
that are,
rounders.
yeah, that can take games over an instance. And I just don't believe they have that caliber of receivers on their team.
I agree with that. All right, I got a $20 super chat from TAKL Farms. Yo, thank you for the 20, Todd. He says, Brew, he's your 36th sub. Let's go. Enjoy listening to
Oh
the
my
breakdowns.
gosh.
He said, I watch with my 9-year-old son and enjoy the lessons. He appreciates it.
Let's go.
All
Get them,
right.
hey, get them started early.
And Judy says she loves your shirt. That says it all. Judy, thank you for the $10 super chat. You know, Judy's been a Nebraska fan for, man, your age plus my age plus probably a few other people in this chat's age. She's been a Nebraska fan forever, so I know she knew who you were right when I
Awesome. I
posted this up.
appreciate it, Judy.
All right, I got another question. So you get, let's say you're at Colorado last year. All right, you never played at Nebraska. This is just all hypothetical. You're at Colorado. Dion gets hired, and he's saying all the crazy shit online. Would you have stayed, or would you have left because it seemed too extreme? Because I think it would have been fun to be a part of the Dion team, and I think the culture that he's going to build is, I mean, cool and interesting. What would you have done?
For sure would have stayed. I wouldn't even thought twice about it. Think the harsh coaching, or the things he was saying, that he needs dogs and whatever. If you felt offended by that, you're not a dog, so you should leave. But obviously, if we talking about myself, I know I'm a dog, so we would have gotten along great. And I feel like that would have been awesome. Obviously, I would never play for Colorado for my Nebraska fans out there, um, but yeah, I mean, even a little bit more of a backstory. He would know who I am because my dad played with him with the Giants. So, like, it would be awesome to play for Dion. Obviously, if he wasn't at Colorado.
Right. Yeah. No, objectively, like as a college football fan, not a Nebraska fan, I love Dion. I love his fit. I love how he fucking handles everything. I think he's just so cool. And I think he's relatable for all the players. So I love him for college football. I think he's awesome. All right. What was the biggest game you played in at Nebraska? In 2021, you had at Oklahoma. I was at that game. You had the home game against Michigan. And then you had Ohio State. That was a home game too towards the end of the year. What do you think the biggest one was, or what felt like the biggest?
Because Oklahoma was when Spencer was there.
Spencer was the starting
Um,
quarterback.
yeah, but the Michigan game was definitely the biggest, though.
The energy was
Definitely the
crazy
Michigan
that
game.
night too. Did it feel like you were gonna win that game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it felt like we were gonna win every game. Felt like we are gonna win the only one I say it kind of didn't feel like it was the Purdue game that year. I went back on my channel and someone sent me a react to the 3-9 whatever, and I was doing it and I was like, yeah, this was probably the one game where it was just a downhill trend. I think there was like 3, 4 picks thrown that game, and it was just like nothing was working. But every other game, even ending with the Iowa game, I felt like every one we were gonna win. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Michigan game. That felt like the one that wasn't gonna get away. There was no way that was gonna be lost, and then very end just slipped. All right, my last
yeah.
question
The
for
amount
you.
of things we could have done that year
Oh,
was, oh man, oh my goodness.
for sure. So I got one question for you for this week, and then I got a couple in the chat. I want to know your prediction, what you think is going to happen, and what Nebraska has to do to win.
Okay, obviously you can't win a game without scoring more points. So we got to talk about how many points Nebraska needs to score to win this game. In my personal opinion, based on what I've seen from Colorado's offense, I think Nebraska needs to score 27 or more points. I think around that range, they need to score that many points. Obviously, if our run game is hitting and our time possession is, uh, you know, it's towering over Colorado's, then that number might go down a little bit. It might be around the 21 range, but I really believe it might. We have to score around 27 points. I believe that Colorado's offense is going to have explosive plays. They're going to win a one-on-one matchup here and there. I don't think we're going to be 100% on our pass defense. I mean, that's just football in general. The 85 Bears weren't perfect. I just think I think Nebraska gets it done. I really do. I'm not even saying this from a biased standpoint. Just purely looking at the film. I think we're a better team. I really do believe we're a better team. I just think we played our worst offensive game of the year. Put it this way. I don't think we're gonna get worse than that. We didn't get any of our playmakers involved, and I think, yeah, the golden number I would say is 27 points. We used to have a golden number when we were at Nebraska last year. When Casey was quarterback, there was a certain number that we had to hit, and if we hit that number, we would win. And every time we did hit that number, we won. So uh, it's just it's just how sound can the defense play, and when my boy Ty Robinson get in there on the second half. Get him a few sacks because their offensive line is not very good.
No, and I love that they said Ty won't come off the field once he gets in on the second half because they're going to need
I
everything.
was charged up when I saw that.
They're going to need all they can out of him. And I like that Matt Rule knows it. I like that he makes that confident statement. Here's a good
Oh
question
yeah,
I got. TAKL, thank you for the $20 super chat. He said, Connor knows my stance on Colorado. Just so all you guys know, this dude is a big fan of what Dion's got going on over there. He's not a Colorado fan, but he loves what Dion's got going on. He wants to know, how does Nebraska's coaching staff recruit dogs away from them? Like, it's going to be tough to recruit against Dion. But what do you think Nebraska has to do? Because there are going to be some some guys in Colorado and in Nebraska who got to pick between the two.
I would say win,
Simple.
just like that. Win, and I would say leverage the resources that we have, and really and I think they're doing that this year. When I played there we didn't utilize the resources we had, and I think that contributed to our record in some way, shape, or form. Can't really put my finger on it the way it did, but think having the new facility is, younger guys care about that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big key, and obviously just winning. And we already have a huge fan base, so that's already established. I think now we gotta win.
If you can prove it, then players are going to come. I think it's simple as that. And like you said, you got the new facility. There are a lot of positives over there in Nebraska. Husker Nation, thank you for the 5. He says, what are your thoughts about Teddy Prohaska and the O line holding up? Do you think Sims will be able to stay healthy and get his accuracy up? Yeah, I think that's something we didn't talk about. So I don't like calling out individual players' names, right? But the left side of the offensive line struggled a little bit. There were 3 sacks and a missed block on the Gabe Irvin run where he went off for 27 yards. You think the offensive line cleaned some things up this week? Do you think they're in for a better matchup against Colorado's D line? What's your take?
Okay, let's talk about it, man. So from a football standpoint, okay, when did these sacks come? On obvious pass downs
Yep.
when we needed to go down the field and drive, right? Obvious pass down. So what does obvious pass down mean?
Means
It
bring more
means the
pressure.
defense knows exactly, and the defense is getting upfield, right? So how do we eliminate that type of things, right? With a scat protection, with quick protection, meaning shorter routes, shorter throws, get things going. It takes pressure off the O line. Now, not every throw is he has to protect for 3 4 seconds. It's just one set here, boom. I think that takes pressure off the O line and it gets them going as well. It's the game. Football is all about rhythm. If the O line all of a sudden has to drop back and protect in the third quarter when they didn't do that the first half. It's tough for them. It's tough. So I would say getting the short pass game going, not even the intermediate pass game. Get short pass game going. You never know. Billy Kemp might break one and slip a tackle, and or Marcus might make some guy miss like he did all last year. So just getting guys going early and with simple concepts actually helps the O line out. So I think the O line will do a lot better because I believe that they're going to fix their offensive adjustments.
I like that. I think that gives a lot of people hope. TAKL says on film he sees a 31-28 Nebraska win, which would cover that 27-point number you were talking about getting to. Thank you for the 20. And Caleb says it sounded like the Buffs feel good going into man coverage with them having split safeties and the occasional cover two. Do you feel good about Sims hitting the tight end up the seam? I noticed in Minnesota that route was open a lot. Thank you for the 20, Caleb. What do you think about the tight end up the seam? And I didn't really see that open against Minnesota. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I saw them run a little bit of cover two. And I saw them run a little bit of Tampa with the mic opening up to the strong side of the field. But I I don't believe it's gonna be that type of game. I really don't. I don't I think the matchups we have to win are on the outside. I think our short and intermediate pass game over the middle. That's where it's going to be. But I think when we take a shot on Travis, just because I don't think our identity is the Colorado style of offense where we got a 3-by-1 set almost every other play and we're in 11 personnel and we're letting our tight end run routes and we're just throwing the ball 40 times a game. So I just believe that when they throw the ball, it's going to be a lot of outside routes. But what I would like is to get things going on the inside, get the our slot receiver and our tight end going a little bit more. But um, yeah, I mean, when we go cover two, Jeff just got to make his read. If the read is uh, having the tight end beat the mic dropper, then yeah, that would be the read. But if the read is him checking down to the back, then that's the read.
I like it. Well, I hope they get it going on the inside because I really want to see Fedoni finally get an opportunity to make a play. Uh, I know you don't see the chat like I said before, but there's a lot of positivity for you in here. People like hearing from you. So Serial just said, "What an awesome guest! It's fun hearing from a former player." Tater, thank you for the $5 super chat and thank you for being a member. He said you two need to have a weekly live during the season, best live yet, other than Carrick or GBR. And I got one more question here for you. He says, Asawar says, Chancellor, what are your thoughts on Janiron Bonner? I think he can end up more of a fullback and a receiver, or do you think he'll end up more of a fullback and a receiver or a tight end?
Yeah, I was surprised I didn't see him. I saw on not tape, but how would I say, YouTube, the little things they've been putting out. I saw him making a lot of plays on there.
Dude, all the
And
time.
I know what type of yeah, I know what type of athlete Wood is, and he's one of them guys that not gonna say much. He gonna put his head down and work. We call him Wood, my bad. Bonner. We call him Wood, but yeah, he's an athlete, and I think he's physical. I saw that in the spring game, putting his head in there. He even got a handoff to start spring game off. But yeah, I think he's a special athlete. And I think they need to incorporate him. I think they will incorporate him, and this is a perfect game to do it. Throw a little curveball at the Colorado defense.
I agree with that. I hope he gets in there because yeah, he's fast. He's a former receiver, and there's a lot of potential for him if he can get it going as a running back. I mean, we see all those clips in practice, and dude was breaking some off. So I got a lot of comments in the chat asking about your channel. So for everybody that wants to see more from Chancellor, you've got in the description below a little link you can click. It takes you straight to him, and then you can subscribe to him there. He's got 4 videos up right now. Let me see here. He's got what is this? Reacting to is this your plays? Oh, the close games.
The close games, yeah,
All right, you
3-9
react.
season, and then
Now keep going. You can tell
to
me.
Skip Bayless. Yep, this is this what what Keyshawn Johnson and them said about the Ohio State, and then the next one is the reacting to the Colorado TCU highlights. And we kind of broke down some of the film, and then we did like a live, like that was during the game, the live reaction to the Minnesota game, and I put little clips on there. But yeah, check out D&D channel. I appreciate you for plugging that, man.
Of course. So my understanding is you're gonna do some Nebraska stuff. You'll talk about your insight and everything, but you're also gonna talk about some of your personal life, and you're just gonna try and build a personal brand on YouTube, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. I got a few stories that I haven't really been able to share. This past season, before the season, the doctors had a major surgery, and the doctors told me I would never play football again, and there were you know, that I had a 0% chance. Let me say that.
Damn.
That's what he said. And I was able to overcome that, and I did that through a lot of different ways, man. So I'm definitely gonna do a few story times on there, just explaining some stuff. Definitely just talking about my journey and just me in general. And yeah, obviously talking about football, we're gonna break down some stuff there, but yeah, we're gonna transition to a whole bunch of different stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, just so everybody in the chat knows, I mean, I know you guys know this because I've preached it before. For us to create content, you got to watch the content, right? It helps us to be able to monetize. It helps us be able to give you more videos, and it really helps us stay motivated to make more for you. So if you want more content from Chandler, I promise you, this is how you get it. Go and hit the like button on all the videos he's got now. Go and drop a comment for the algorithm on every video he's got now. Make sure he feels the love, and then watch all the videos. Just leave him run until the very end because that helps the algorithm know that you like it, and it's going to suggest him to more people. That's how he's going to grow. That's how you're going to see more content. And yeah, we really want to see more from you, brother. So we appreciate you coming on the channel, giving us all this insight. I think you're one of our best guests. Oh, wait, I just cut you out. I think you're one of our best guests because you got so much experience. So it's fun to hear from you. But
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, but I hope to have you back on the channel soon, and I'll for sure be watching some of your videos as I get time, and I can go over there and check them out.
For sure, I'll be doing the same, man.
Good deal. I'm gonna click you off the screen for a second so I can do my outro, and then I'm gonna catch up with you in a sec. All right, everybody, I appreciate you all for being here. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to Chancellor's channel. he's got a lot of content coming because he wants to build his personal brand, and he sounds like he's got it in him to do it. So thank you guys today for being here. I appreciate you a ton. If you want more videos from me, make sure you hit the like button. Let me know what you thought of this interview, and make sure you let Chancellor know he's appreciated for coming on the channel. But until next time, I will see you in the next one. Go Big Red.